So good morning to each and everyone. By the way, we are the group 1 and today we'll be talking about feelings and moral decision making. So before anything else, let me begin this by giving you a situation. So here it is. Imagine that Andrea and Francine are walking to school. Along the way, they encounter Bajau kids asking for money and food. So as a response, Andrea asked the kids as to where their parents are and told them to go home. Well, on the other side, Francine immediately get his pocket or her packet and give them coins and advises the kids to go home safely. Now, who do you think did the right thing? Is it Andrea who asked the children as to where their parents are and told them to go home? Or is it Francine who immediately got her pocket and gave some coins to the children and told them to go home safely? So I know that you have answers in your mind, guys. So at this point, let's delve into our topic. So feelings or emotional reaction which are experienced via physical as well as mental states. For example, your ninang gave you 2,000 pesos as a Christmas gift. So you would likely feel happy, right? So next, when you are being cheated by your girlfriend or boyfriend, ouch. So definitely you will feel angry and sad. So lastly, if your crush reacts to your day on Facebook, so definitely you will be fluttered and happy, right? So what I have mentioned are just few of the many feelings that we experience. It's more personal than mere thought because our hearts respond to the situations we find ourselves in. So next, we have the moral decision making. So it is the ability to decide which is the right course of action once we have spotted the ethical issue. So basically, when we talk about moral decision making, it involves more of our mind. For example, you're buying food at a store and the cashier mistakenly gave you extra change. So what will you do? Will you return the change or keep it to yourself then? So through moral decision making, we able to come up with a sensible and justifiable response to ethical questions. When deciding, we think about our right to choose our life path, to be informed truthfully, to avoid harm, and the right to privacy among others. Now, what then is the role of feelings in moral decision making? Always bear in mind that feelings play a vital role in most moral decision making. Remember that the decision of people may vary from what they feel. Different feelings affect decisions in different ways. Indeed, that feelings play a huge part of our decision making process, but at times may be steering you wrong. It might lead you to poor judgments, unconscious bias, and recklessness. So in order to avoid regrets, never decide when you are at the peak of your emotions.
Feelings as instinctive and trained response to moral dilemmas. Emotions can be trained as an instinctive and trained response to moral dilemmas through a combination of implicit emotional conditioning and the development of virtues such as compassion and empathy. This is seen through theories of moral sentiments, emotional conditioning, virtue ethics, and moral reasoning. Feelings or emotions can be powerful when they are developed as instinctive and trained responses to moral dilemmas. Fundamentally, emotions should be trained to become naturally resilient to perceive adversaries or difficulties as temporary, survive our sufferings, and solve every moral dilemma. For example, anger is a good indicator that we have an issue that ought to be addressed. While we are feeling the anger, though, is not the time to fix things, it is the time to exercise self-control, forgiveness, and forbearance. Sometimes through acting angry can be useful, as a form of persuasion when dealing with people who try to get us to compromise our principle. Most people will listen to a request to cease and desist. Sometimes, though, there are people who will not stop what they are doing until we insist.
Ethical subjectivism is a meta-ethical theory that suggests moral statements are expressions of individual subjective beliefs, opinions, or attitudes rather than facts or principle. So this is based on how they feel and what is their opinion is, and it depends on the perspective and attitudes of individuals. For example, this picture shows two people who argue about this number if it is 6 or 9. Both parties have different opinion and perspective. The first person justifies that the one is wrong and he is right. This means they use ethical subjectivism because they base on what they want to believe without any solid evidence or reason.
Good day everyone, my name is Shinzi Liana and I am tasked to report on the analysis of ethical subjectivism. So, it was already mentioned what ethical subjectivism is. So, in the analysis of subjectivism, there are only 3 that I put in there. And there's a lot, but I only choose 3. So, out of those 3, the first one is it allows us to think for ourselves. So, this is actually a positive note. So ethical subjectivism allows us to think of ourselves because it implies that we need not to agree with culture or society. So it means that it's actually like we think of ourselves, call it selfish or whatever, that we think of ourselves. We think of what our preference is, what we like, what we want, and stuff like that. So that's what it means. An example of this is I want balut, but not I want to eat balut, but not everyone wants to eat balut. So, yes, wala ka nag-base sa culture, wala ka nag-base sa society. It is only based on our individuality, our preference. So, the second one, or anyway, a continuation of that is it indicates unbelievable that the mere fact that we like something would make it good. It provides a weak foundation of dealing with topics like drug addictions, bullying, slavery, racism, and discriminations. According to ethical subjectivism, when we express actions as evil, we merely say we have negative feelings toward the deeds. And I think that pertains to the second in the list, which is the moral judgment we make do represents the truth. So there are a lot of different preference, different ideas, and stuff that happening around us in our life. It is basically the influence of people, the influence of environment and stuff, and that's what makes the truth. Okay? So, kung sa atong moral judgment on a certain topic, on a certain situation, it is our truth. But that is not necessarily the same for everyone. That is necessarily the truth for everyone. Maybe for them it is a lie, or it is not correct, it is a mistake, and stuff like that. Pero sa ato because we experience certain stuff, it makes us the truth. Also vice versa for the other people. That's why it is subjective, meaning influence or based on our own personal feelings, emotions, and experience. So the third one is the ethical subjectivism cannot be correct. So ethical subjectivism is correct, then each of us is infallible in our moral judgment as long as we are speaking sincerely. But we are not infallible. We may be mistaken even when we speak sincerely. Therefore, ethical subjectivism cannot be correct. So it says here that if correct man gani ang ethical subjectivism, that means correct sige atong judgment. Then Even though nga sayop ato ang gipangyaw-yaw, sayop atong perception, sayop atong mga idea, not basically sayop, but kanang dili siya correct sa panlantaw sa laing tao. Since genuinely, sincerely say ka nga mauna, correct na daw ko na ka. But no, sayop, since lahi ra jud tag taste, lahi ra tag preference, it means dili jud siya correct. So another one to think is when student A, example of this, is said that X is morally accepted and B says X is morally unaccepted, they are disagreeing. If ethical subjectivism is correct, then there will be no disagreement between A and B. So therefore ethical subjectivism cannot be correct. So as I said, like example of this is LGBTQ. So student A says that LGBTQ is actually just cool, good people and stuff like that. They are just accepted for everyone. So ilaha pa, they are open-minded. But sa other tao, like student B, example, since her upbringing or his upbringing is he was devoted to the church. He was loyal to the church. Sa Bible pa, nag-base siya sa Bible that LGBTQ is a sin. Inana. Mura na siya. That's actually an example, guys. Wala ako nag-say that that's true. But yes. So, nag-disagreement sila. Kay each perception is naglahi-lahi man. And that is ethical subjectivism. Neither is correct, neither is wrong. Since opinion naman na nila. So, if wala daw ko na disagreement, wala daw ko na subjectivism. Ethical subjectivism is made up of disagreement. Since lahi-lahi matag preference, lahi-lahi tao likes, lahi-lahi tag wants. So that's what made ethical subjectivism.
Emotivism is an ethical theory originally developed by English philosopher A.J. Ayer. It is a form of ethical subjectivism, the view that there are no objective moral truths in the world. It is also a kind of non-cognitivism, a theory that suggests that ethical statements are not based on cognitive reasoning. Emotivism is an extension of the theory of logical positivism, which says that the only way to find true knowledge in the world is through repeatable, objective, and scientific studies. Emotivists believe that attempting to determine what is right and what is wrong is meaningless and impossible activity. Instead, morality goes no further than individual emotion and opinion. For example, if someone says that they think that murder is bad, they are really only saying that the concept of murder makes them feel uncomfortable.
So the evaluation of emotivism is an expression of feelings or attitude and prescriptions of action rather than assertions or reports of anything. So the main goal of emotivism is to persuade the reader or the listener. For example, when does life begin? So someone said that at the moment of conception, at birth, and the other one said when you get your driver's license. As we can see the given example, there were different persons that gives their different ideas, and each one of them tries to persuade us of what idea should we are going to believe.
Good day, everyone. I am Roger Francis Crispy, and I will be continue to report my assigned topic. Emotions and feelings can be powerful motivators. They can also pose obstacles to making moral decisions. This is because emotion can cloud our judgment and lead us to act impulsively or irrationally. Here are some ways in which feelings can hinder moral decision making. So, first is the intense emotion. Strong emotions like anger, fear, or love can somewhat override our moral values and principles. For example, a person who is deeply in love may be willing to overlook their partner's dishonesty or infidelity, even if it goes against their moral beliefs. So second, conflicting emotions. Sometimes we experience conflict emotions that make it difficult to make a moral decision. For instance, a person may feel both compassion and anger towards someone who has wronged them, leading to confusion about how to respond. So here is the example of conflicting emotion. So for example, you're having a relationship, then you and your boyfriend experiencing conflicts between both of your emotion and judgment that can lead both of you into a complicated relationship and end up breaking up each other. So number 3, overwhelming emotion. In some situations, the intensity of our emotion can be overwhelming and make it challenging to think clearly. For example, a person who is grieving the loss of a loved one may find it challenging to make rational decisions about their future. In addition, to be completely submerged by your thoughts and emotions about all of life's current problems to the point where you lack productivity and feel frozen and paralyzed or depressed. So number 4, emotional attachments. Our emotional attachments to people, places, or things can also hinder our moral decisions making. For instance, a person may be hesitant to speak out against a friend's wrongdoing because they don't want to hurt their feelings or damage the relationship. So for example, na kay friend, then na siya kinaiyangas nga dili ka ganahan niya, like sa imong pagkabutan giabuso niya, like ingon ana niya dili ra ka ganahan nga mo confront sa iya because dili ka ganahan nga maguba inyong friendship. So number 5, emotional blindness. Sometimes we may become so emotionally invested in a situation that we fail to see the bigger picture or consider all the relevant factors. This can lead us to the decisions that are not in line with our moral values or principles. So in summary, while emotions are an essential part of being human, they can also pose obstacles to making moral decisions. It's essential to recognize the role of emotions in decisions making and strive to balance them with the reason and rationality. By doing so, we can make more informed and principled choices that align with our moral values. That would be all to my report.
So, good day everyone. Now let's delve into our last topic, which is feelings as an aid to moral decision making. So it refers to the idea that our emotions can guide us in determining what is right or wrong. So there are some situations or instances which our feelings and likings are relevant to the rightness of our decisions and actions. So we all know that when it comes to moral decision making, we usually use our mind, our brains, but we should also consider what we feel because feelings can also play a significant role in deciding towards on a situations where we are in needs to decide for what is right or wrong. So bali ang feelings manggod is nagsilbi siyang compass. Compass because it guides us towards what feels right or wrong. For instance, if a decision makes you feel uncomfortable or guilty, it might be a sign that it's not the right choice morally. On the other hand, if a decision brings you peace and satisfaction, it could indicate that it aligns with your moral values. So now let's move to different feelings. So I will give you some examples of feelings that can help us in moral decision making. So let's start with empathy. This feeling allows us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. It can guide us to make decisions that are considerate and respectful of others. So, let's say for example, you witness a classmate being bullied by another student. In this situation, empathy can guide your moral decision making. Instead of ignoring or staying silent, you put yourself in your classmates' shoes and try to understand how they might be feeling. So you are motivated to take action and support them, even if it means facing challenges yourself. Empathy guides you to prioritize kindness and fairness in your decisions. So next is discomfort. This feeling can serve us as a warning sign that a decision might be morally wrong. They can prompt us to reconsider our choices. So imagine you're in a school setting where a group of students is engaging in cyberbullying by spreading hurtful rumors or posting disrespectful comments about a classmate on social media. So this situation creates discomfort because you value kindness, empathy, and standing up against bullying. In this case, discomfort can guide your moral decision making. Feeling uncomfortable with the hurtful comments or rumors being spread, you take action by reporting the situation to a trusted adult and offering support to the targeted individual. So by doing so, you promote empathy, kindness, and a safe environment for everyone. So lastly, we have joy. This positive feeling or emotion can indicate when we've made a decision that aligns with our values and contributes to our or others' well-being. So let's say, for example, you're part of a school club that focuses on environmental conservation. So as a member, you have the opportunity to participate in a beach cleanup event. During the cleanup, you witness the positive impact your actions have on the environment and the joy it brings to others who visit the beach. So the joy you feel from making a positive impact on the environment motivates you to make more sustainable choices and take further action to promote environmental consciousness. So that would be all, and I would like to leave a reminder to all of you. It is also important to remember that feelings can sometimes be misleading. They can be influenced by external factors like stress, peer pressure, or personal biases. Therefore, while our feelings can provide valuable guidance, it's essential to approach them with a critical and balanced mindset to make well-rounded and thoughtful decisions. Thank you.